Hi, I'm Rodway and this is the Oceanworx Airier 4.8. Now these boats are glorious to look at. They're very unique to look at, and they've got some hull design and construction techniques that have been used that make them a very, very special form of boat, and they are a point of difference against a lot of the other boats you look at. Australian made, handcrafted in Sydney. Let's take a good look at what the Airier 4.8 has to offer. So when the team at Oceanworx came together to build something that was unique and not just another tinny to hit the market, this boat was focused on function. There's so much usable space, there's so much storage, and there's no wasted space anywhere. Even the way the side decks are put together all the way to the back of the boat, when you buy an Airier 4.8, you've got total access to the entire area in this boat. Excuse the pun. So let's just look at the front area of the boat now. We've got the bow roller here, we've got the motor guide. Now the motor guide bow mount plate's a standard feature in this boat. Anchor well. And then if we come back into the casting deck area here, we've got this huge big storage under the front area here. Now, one of the cool things about these boats is these hatches are all watertight, they're all sealed. There's a drainage system that runs all the way through the mechanism of the frame here, and then there's a drain at the front which lets any water that comes overboard, gets into these gutters, flows straight back out of the main cockpit here. So all your gear in the front is always kept nice and dry. You've got a keeper tank or kill tank, depending on how you want to refer it, in the front here. Now this is big. I'm going to call it 120, 140 litres. It is an option to have this one plumbed. This particular boat doesn't have it plumbed, but if you're into collecting your fish during the day and then keeping the good ones and throwing the others back, we can plumb this boat up at the front here and set you up with your keeper tank. When it came to the design of the Oceanworx, it was all about the driver experience. So you'll notice with the console and the way the seats are set up, when you sit in it, it's designed to make you feel at home and feel very comfortable. This particular boat's designed for being able to do long runs and being able to sit down and drive and just feel comfortable as you're cruising up the river. That's what it's all about. So I would expect when you sit down in this boat, you're going to feel very, very comfortable and ready to go. They've done a really good job of this console, and it definitely spent a lot of time thinking it through and to work out the best way, A, for rigging and access for electronics, but also the best way to display your electronics and then get some storage features out of the console as well. So standard with this console is your shelf across the top, which is awesome for being able to drop lures quickly, put phones down, keys, whatever you need to do. You've got the two cup holders here, which are standard as well. We're going to add an extra bit of tread pad here, similar to what's on the side deck, to give you a bit of extra grip, to be able to just put a phone down quickly or put things down quickly and not run the risk of it sliding off. Now this is a NSX12 Simrad to give you an idea of space. So you can see easily that a 16-inch screen is going to fit in here quite easily, and with the 16 you're still going to have room for other things to be mounted on the console. Access off the steering wheel, like for driving height, you can easily stand and drive. Like I'm 6'2", and you can see from that to be able to stand and drive is quite a comfortable thing to do, as well as obviously the sitting position. Now at the front of the console there's a door here, and that opens up to a really nicely laid out range of electrical wiring and all the adapters and stuff that are designed to get this boat running. So from a rigging point of view and for accessing the electronics, it's super easy to just be able to open that door and see that all there. Now these seats are so comfortable. They haven't just gone and got a generic seat from somewhere. These seats are all individually trimmed. The trim material looks amazing, and they're very, very comfortable to sit in. Good support with these wings down the side as well. So long journey, shooting up a river, you're definitely not going to get up feeling like you've been run over by a bus. This is really comfortable and certainly really finishes off the boat nicely. Coming to the back of the boat, we've got the rear casting deck area here. Now we've got a plumbed live bait tank. That's standard feature in this boat. In the middle here, it's more just access into your bilge. If you ever get stuff that falls into the bilge or you need to check any of your wiring for bilge pumps and stuff like that, you've got access through the middle hatch. The left hatch here is just access once again into your batteries, but you can also use that for storage. There's quite a bit of open area in under that rear deck. Now horsepower, my understanding is that this boat engineering wise would be able to hold up to 115 horsepower, but 90 horsepower seems to be where the boat's at its best. So at the moment the maximum horsepower on the Airier 4.8 is 90, but it's nice to know that you've got a boat structurally that can hold more horsepower. It just says a lot about the hull, and that's the very next thing we're going to talk about. When it comes to hull construction, there's sort of three main ways that an aluminium boat gets put together. The most common way is the pressed aluminium format, where you've basically got a skeleton of ribbing and frames and a keel line, and then your aluminium sheet pretty much wraps around that skin. So that's your pressed aluminium version. Then there's a lot of guys that say they build plate boats, and what they're doing is taking a similar construction method where they're using all the extrusions, they're hammering high tensile aluminium into those extrusions to assemble the boat. And that's a really fast way to do it. The way Oceanworx do it is a great way because it's eliminating that extrusion, and I'll come back to the extrusions in a second, but by basically forming the sheets butt on butt, there's no extrusions involved in the construction, and by getting rid of extrusions, you're actually allowing the boat to perform at its best the way it's designed. Extrusions, like if you think of a yacht has a keel to keep it straight. Extrusions are just artificial blades, I guess, in the hull design, and they're always going to cause issues for the boat to perform the way it's designed, because extrusions basically form direction for the hull. You really want all your direction to come from your outboard to react against the hull design, and extrusions go against that. So by building the Oceanworx way, it takes a lot longer to build a hull. That's why they're more expensive to construct. But what they've done is they've got that incredible form in the bottom sheet by not using extrusions. They've got what I think it's a 44-degree dead rise at cut angle up in the bow, which is incredibly sharp in the V of the hull at the back, coming all the way to the 15 degrees on the transom. So it makes it a very, very aggressive hull design. There's no extrusions to hook up, so when the boat's going into a banking turn, it's just a natural shape of the hull that's allowing the boat to perform at its absolute best. The boats look gorgeous. No one's ever going to quibble about this boat as being an ugly boat. It's definitely not. The way the shear line just eases up into the front here, and then it's a little dip at the front. It's very, very beautifully put together and designed. But one of the cool features is the way that if you continue your eye line off the bow straight down, the hull drops into the water very, very quickly. Now what that's doing is giving an extended running surface or a longer waterline length for the hull. Now if you compare it back to other boats in this class, they're going to take longer to get the hull in the water. That shortens up your waterline length, and if you can imagine two crests of a wave and a trough in the middle, you're trying to get on top of those crests. So the longer the waterline length, the better the ride of the boat, the more comfortable the ride of the boat. Now, there's a couple of things that could go wrong when you drop a hull into the water quickly, but one of the things they've done with Oceanworx is keep the dead rise extremely sharp. Now, plate boats and plate aluminium is extremely stiff and very, very difficult to manipulate to get that shape. So if you look at a lot of plate boats, they'll run a dead rise at the transom, and they'll hold that dead rise pretty consistently all the way to the bow, and then just round it off a little bit in the bow to finish it off. Now what Oceanworx have done is start off with their dead rise angle, but then they've continued to sharpen and sharpen all the way through. So calling it basically a variable dead rise hull, right through to an incredibly sharp point at the bow, which is what gives that beautifully soft ride through any chop you're putting it through. It literally just glides straight through it. If you've ever been in a boat which has got a fairly blunt entry and you're in choppy waters, you'll know as you're punching through, you generally hit the brakes every time you hit a wave. Now with the Oceanworx, when you're going through and you've got chop, you literally just slice straight through that, and that's what gives that incredible calm and beautifully soft ride that you'll get in the Oceanworx Airier. Now let's talk to the next thing that can happen if you've got a boat that's cutting the water well. There's stability. Now I'm reasonably heavy, 120 kilos, 115 kilos, depending on what we had for dinner last night. And you can see the boat sits quite flat. We've got photos of 3 guys on the boat, which is hopefully overlaying right now in the video, showing you this boat sitting very, very stable at rest. So what it does, it's got very aggressive reverse chines that are built into the hull. Plus you've got quite a stable dead rise in the transom. This boat's running around 15 degrees on the transom for the dead rise angle. So the reverse chines coupled with your calmer dead rise on the transom is allowing this boat to have a good purchase on the water at rest. Those those reverse chines, they don't just stop at the back of the boat, they run all the way to the bow. So as this boat's cutting the water, any water that's squeezed out sideways or up is hitting those reverse chines, and it's allowed this boat to be exceptionally dry riding it in rough conditions. If you talk to the guys from Missing at Sea who have been using this boat for the last couple of months, they'll tell you that they've never really driven a boat as dry riding as this. The boats that they've experienced in the past have always had a lot of spray coming up on board and a lot of water sliding up the hull and being airborne. This boat's still going to send water airborne as it punches into a wave, but it's hitting those reverse chines, and the shape of the hull is deflecting that water sideways rather than making it come up and come back onto the deck. So as an open style boat, you don't have to be concerned about getting too wet on board because this boat is extremely dry riding. When you come down and have a look at the Oceanworx Airier, you're going to notice a few things. You're going to notice the finish of the boat. It's impeccable. This boat here is much fully optioned. The boats come standard with a checker plate floor, unpainted on the inside. But if you're going to go to the full level of this with the aesthetics pack, you're going to be going the full painted floor with the foam flooring running throughout, foam down the side of the gunnels, and it really sets this boat apart at a prestige level that the boat really is. It's the little things like even the live bait tank. It doesn't just have a hole on the transom or a bilge pump hanging off the transom. It's through hole through the bottom of the boat. So you know your water pickup for your live bait tank is running at the best it possibly can for the design of the hull. This boat is gorgeous. It performs unbelievably well, and yes, it's at the premium end of the spectrum for aluminium boats. It's got a high price tag, but you're getting what you pay for. When you sit in this boat, you know you're getting the absolute best of the best. And if you're wanting some special things in the boat, because the boat's a boutique style boat, it's handmade, handcrafted, it's not production volume. If you've got some little things, I'm sure the Oceanworx guys are going to be able to sit down and make them happen in your boat as well. So if you're looking for a premium, awesome performing side console, the Oceanworx Airier 4.8's got to be on your shopping list, and get down to your dealer and have a good look at it.